So you've likely heard about OpenAI and specifically the currently free tool ChatGPT. So imagine being able to expand your thinking, create draft documentation with ease, and streamline your work as a business analyst. This is all possible with this tool, ChatGPT, and this is despite the industry-wide fear of AI and artificial intelligence somehow replacing business analysts. I think a better question is, how can we use these tools to increase our efficiency and our effectiveness as business analysts? There's immense potential for these tools to expand our thinking and make our jobs easier. And if that's sounds like something that you'd like to do, just stick with me and I'll show you exactly how to do that. Hi, I'm Laura Brandenburg with Bridging the Gap, where we help you start, succeed, and excel in your business analyst career with weekly videos on business analysis tips and techniques. If you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, make sure to do so and hit that notification bell so that you can stay in the loop on all of our new videos. So ChatGPT was originally released back in June 2020, which feels like a lifetime ago at this point, and it was an open source language model developed by OpenAI. OpenAI is a for-profit AI research laboratory. And I think that's just a really important piece of context to keep in mind. Sometimes when free tools are available, it can just feel like, they're from nonprofits or sponsored by the government or whatever. But this is a for-profit company that's released this tool for most likely a limited time as a free resource to the community, and is in an exploration stage with how that tool is going to become part of its business model. In November 2022, specifically, this is when the GPT chatbot was launched as a prototype. And that is when it enabled anyone to register for a free account and start using the tool with natural language chats. And as of this recording, OpenAI has announced making a version of this tool available for $20 a month that would provide more guaranteed access. Like sometimes when you go today, it's like our systems are too busy, right? Because everybody's using this tool to help be more efficient in their work. So that subscription, as I understand it, would enable you to have like a VIP or primary access to the tool. And it's clear, this is just the beginning. The current tool and AI generally, these are powerful resources for us as business analysts to use, from everything from drafting requirements models to brainstorming questions to ask your stakeholders. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's go ahead and see how this could be used to draft a use case. So I'm going to type in the question here, please draft a use case titled Combine Accounts. All right, and then we get to wait for a moment. And here you go. One of the things while it's generating this response that I want to share is that one of the limitations of this tool is it's using information from pre-2022. And it's compiled that together. And as it's doing this, my understanding is it's creating unique content from the available information. But it's being written and regenerated in real time, always using a different perspective. So I did this before as a test before I did this video, and this use case now is different than that one that was generated before. So let's just take a look at what's going on here. So there's a description. The combined accounts use case allows users to merge multiple separate accounts into a single account. Makes perfect sense. This is useful for individuals who have created multiple accounts over time and would like to streamline their account information. We've got the actors, the preconditions, some user system interactions that seem to make pretty good sense. Prompts the user to log in credentials, verifies those credentials. That's interesting. I would often put login as a separate use case. That's kind of typically considered a best practice. A precondition would be the user being logged in versus how they have it here, a user logging in for, has their credentials. So, there's different nuances on how different people handle use cases, but typically a precondition is something that the user or the system can actually verify. The system can't verify that the user actually has their login credentials. So the spin on the use case here is maybe slightly different than a typical use case that I personally would write. some of that is personal and organizational preference though. So just throwing that out there. So then there's some really good steps here. The system merges those selected accounts, but again, it's like kind of missing those details. Like as an individual writing this use case for your organization, you will need to figure out like what are those details that need to be merged and what overwrites what. What's the primary account, right? There's some business rules there specific to your organization that you'll need to fill in. And then finally, the user logs out. Again, I would put that as a separate use case, but some of that stuff is preference. So let's look at what we are receiving here, because this is a really great draft. And if you were sitting down and like, oh my goodness, we have this feature to combine accounts, I have no idea what I should be doing. This would be a great way to give yourself a start and to start thinking about it. But again, we can see like your critical ability or thinking ability as a business analyst is still really important in making sure that this reflects what is used for your business. One of the things I wanted to note too is this use case does include most of the sections that are available through our use case template. And if that's something that you want to have access to, we'll leave a link below, and there also will probably be a card on screen as well. Okay, so let's take this a bit deeper, right? So this was great draft of the use case. I could work with this as a starting point. I'm going to say, well, I'm going into a stakeholder meeting. Can you please give me 10 questions I could ask a customer service representative, right? So a very specific role in the organization about this feature. Because this is another challenge that the business analysts face. Like I'm going into this meeting and I know I'm supposed to have an agenda. I know I'm supposed to be asking questions, right? What questions should I be asking? We actually have a whole product for this called our requirements discovery checklist pack. But I think it's also, it'd be great to use ChatGPT for this as well. So these are great questions. How do I combine my accounts? Is there a limit to the number of accounts I can merge? What happens to the information from the accounts that I discard? Can I undo an account merge once it's complete? These are great questions to getting through to the root cause of the features and the full business rules. So let's just take this yet another step deeper. And what we teach in the Business Analyst Blueprint certification program is a strategy for extracting user stories from your use case. So your use case includes the big picture of that user system interaction and how the whole feature flows. The user stories might have specific parts of that feature that are going to get implemented in different development cycles. So could you please, notice my politeness, I'm always please. I'm sure the machine does not really care, but it just still feels like the right thing to do. Break this use case down into user stories. So here we're getting those user stories, and that as a user, I want to be able to do something so that I can. So as a user with multiple accounts, I want to be able to combine my accounts so I can streamline my account information, right? So different user stories that are covering this whole feature of how do I combine accounts. So the specific pieces that might be implemented piece by piece. So that is an overview of ChatGPT and kind of how it can work to improve our efficiency as a business analyst. I think it's a great starting point here to still create user stories. There's quite a few. There's a great starting point for us. And there are a lot of limitations as well. One of them that I already mentioned, it's only data from through 2022, right? So it's not going, if there's a new feature or a new capability or something that is relatively recent with your functionality, it's not going to have the information that it's not going to be trained to use that kind of information to generate a response that would be meaningful for you. It's also really unable to determine what's important and what's not from there's no ethics and humanity involved in this, right? It is trained on the data set, so it is as good or as weak as the data set that it's been given. I think this is a really important piece to keep in mind as we think about AI tools in general, is where is the human ethics aspect of it? And, in this use case of combining accounts, that might not be very relevant, but in general, when we're asking it questions, it might not, it's not going to bring through our norms of how we want to handle diversity and inclusion or how we want to be a proponent of social justice or other values that we may be important to us or to our organizations. That is not going to come out through a data set or a generation like this. So we really need to bring that to it. So it's really unable to determine as well what is important to your business and your stakeholders, right? Like we're not mining information specific to your company, and it's definitely not helping you get your stakeholders aligned on what this feature should look like. It's giving you a starting point, a set of questions to ask. And it's not going to be specific to your business at all. Although you could definitely drill in and say, like, if I'm running an insurance company, what would this merge account feature look like? And it will give you like another version of that would be much more specific to your domain. But the sense that I want to give you here is that AI, it's a powerful tool. It's an efficiency creating tool, but it's not an end all and a be all. It's going to give you a draft. It's going to give you a starting point, but not your final product. And it's not going to help you. It's not going to create alignment and clarity among your stakeholder group. The key message I want you to receive is there is no substitute for the thinking you do about the requirements and how they impact your business as a business analyst. Now, let's just talk about also some of the limitations to you when it comes to succeeding as a business analyst. Because as you saw, I started to kind of pick apart exactly how that use case was structured. And so you need to know like what a use case is, how to evaluate the results that were generated, what are best practices in terms of how your organization organizes use cases and functional requirements. And if you're not already familiar with that or you need a refresher, I did do a full video on what a use case is and how to write one. And you can watch that video by clicking the card on the screen now. I've also found often that this tool will put me into a little bit of a spin. So I have used it to flesh out outlines for videos and social media posts, and it gives me like a lot of great ideas, right? And often it gives me almost too many ideas. And so I need to do the work to filter out what's really important from my audience and the point that I want to get across. And so just taking the outline as it is and copying and pasting it, or even allowing the tool to write an entire video script, it's totally possible. But if I did that, it wouldn't come across as me. It wouldn't be the kind of content you're used to getting from Bridging the Gap. And so the same thing is true as you're using it to draft requirements. It's your starting point, but you need to really bring that flavor. And if it's putting you in a spin and a bit of overwhelm, a lot of business analysts really struggle with imposter syndrome. And so seeing a tool create, a draft of a document in something that in seconds, when it takes you hours the first time through, or hopefully, within time, you're creating something like that within 20 to 30 minutes, like as a rough draft, but it can be a real mind bender to see a tool just spit it out just like that. And it can also have a sense of authority of like the tool knows better than me, right? This tool, they put login in there. Like, why am I not doing that in my use case? Or, this tool has it done this way and left out these sorts of details. Like, why am I not doing that? Like, you are still in control. You are still the authority. The tool is a resource to help you. It's a really important, I think, mindset to keep in mind as you're using a tool like this. And just being aware that it could send you off on tangents that your business rationale and goals do not support. You want to be really careful that like your use of ChatGPT doesn't give you scope creep, right? That your stakeholders aren't even asking for. We already have that problem within our project. We don't need more. So, and this is just a side note, like this is where access to coaching and mentoring and training really remain critical for you and your mental game. In our programs, our instructors are still doing like real live reviews of your actual work and documentation because we know how important that is in cultivating your confidence. And so having that kind of review cycle and that training cycle is still incredibly important. So with all of this said, I think it's also important to remember these tools are still relatively new and we're just starting to see like the shimmer of their potential and how disruptive already this technology has been just in the last few months. They are going to continue to expand and evolve. They're going to continue to improve. They're going to get better. And so we could see a future where these sorts of tools identify and merge duplicate requirements, show requirements conflicts for us automatically, map the information resources of your organization to be used to identify requirements and project impacts, right? Like these tools can be a great thinking and analysis ability. And even that is just probably the beginning. So given that these tools will continue to get smarter and will continue to increase in capability, how can you position yourself? Well, there's no point really in being afraid of the tool or just trying to like push it down or put your head in the sand, which honestly is what I was doing for probably the last few years. Instead, this is the time to dive in, embrace, learn how to leverage the tool set to increase your efficiency, bring these ideas to your team and to your projects, free up your time right here and now for the capabilities that are not replicated by machines, right? So those capabilities are your ability to build relationships, your ability to bring people together, creating alignment and clarity, gaining buy-in, ensuring the requirements you write actually meet the business objectives, and that your team can deliver them and that they achieve real business value. So with anything, these tools are here to support us with the more limited sort of menial work of a business analyst, so we can shift our energy and attention to the more meaningful aspects of our work. So we are just beginning to see the power of these types of tools in terms of supporting our workflow. And if you have used ChatGPT in your workflow as a business analyst, I would love for you to drop me a comment below and let us know, how are you using this tool? How has it helped your effectiveness as a business analyst? What are your wins? What are your questions? What are your fears around it? Where are the places that you get stuck? Where has it helped you and where has it left you wanting more? Remember, the tool has a lot of limitations, but there is also so much more to a use case than that AI generated version. So just like AI is not going to replace business analysts, its output won't replace human insight, creativity, customized problem solving to the needs of your specific business. And you need to know why each section of that use case is important and how to think through it so you can validate that information with your stakeholders. That's why our use case template is so valuable and will help you do just that. So once again, to claim your free copy, click the button on screen now. And if you want to learn more about use cases, click the video on screen now and watch our video on how to write a use case. I'll see you there.